And now, Mike's thoughts.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, it is time for a different narrative. It is time for a new story. It is time for all you haters to come up with something better. Let's just be honest. It is time for y'all to stop hating. Yes, my Kansas City Chiefs won again. Chiefs Kingdom right there, baby. Back-to-back flag is on the way. But I am tired of saying that I'm tired of reading, I'm tired of hearing that these NFL games are rigged. I'm tired of reading, I'm tired of saying that these refs cheated for the Kansas City Chiefs, that the Chiefs cheated and this and the NFL is rigged. Just stop it already. Stop it. Use your common sense, logical brain here. Use it. Use common sense, use logic. How can you have 109 players or so, 53 on a roster, 106 players. How can you have 106 players all be on the quote, the script, and not one of them speak? The backup kicker's not getting any playing time. He might get some more bread if he goes to, I don't know, the Pat McAfee show and spills his beans and Pat gives him a little dollar bills on the side. How is it not millions upon millions of players have played in this NFL and the script has never been leaked and the rigging has never been fully established, right? Do you guys remember when the NBA ref, it was Donahue, right? He was, quote, rigging the games. He was calling fouls a little bit more closely versus said teams and he had money on the line. That man's in federal prison. He's in the big boy prison. So think about this. If the NFL is colluding to make this entertainment, if the NFL is colluding to make this a script, if the NFL is colluding to make this rigged, there wouldn't be betting. It would have done been leaked by now, and people would have been thrown in jail. So let's get a new narrative now. We're sick and tired of hearing it. Oh, the refs gave the Kansas City Chiefs the game. The NFL is rigged. The NFL wants Taylor Swift and the Swifties to be all happy. Shut up. We are sick and tired of it. Sick and tired of it. Cue that intro. Are you ready for the best damn NFL show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, I'll rise up.
Yeah, hey, let's go. Hitting that gridiron, we going hard, we running the plays. You know the vibe, only the strong survive. Gotta keep your head in the game. Talking NFL, uncut, straight raw. Steady bringing that sauce. We about to take off. Get it hype, this man, our sport talk. Yeah, from the quarterback to the lineman. Everybody bringing heat. You don't really want to try them. Hey, who gon' win? It's a battle of the giants. This show is the flyest. Nobody can deny it. This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception?
Let's go. What is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckheisen here, fresh off the week vacation in the middle of the NFL season. What's my wife thinking? Who knows? But listen, we had a grand old time down there in the old Disney World. We sweated our asses off, but damn it, we had a grand old time and the boys loved it. Memories after memories, and of course there's a lot of fighting happening because, you know, it's just vacation. You can never just relax, right? You never can just relax and have a good time. I anticipated that I was going to be able to record a show at the end of the day and air it for you guys at 2:30 in the afternoon, but you know what? That Florida heat does something to y'all. That Florida heat sucks the life out of your soul and says, bad boy. And I was like, once you hit that AC, you're like, game over. Speaking of game over, the Las Vegas Raiders, let's give my man John and Jim, let's give them all some props, guys. Let's give, I think I got a round of applause here. Let's see here. There we go. Yeah, let's give them a round of applause. John and Jim got a big win over the Baltimore Ravens, and their Las Vegas Raiders fans are on cloud nine right now. And Jim's like, Ant, where are you? WB Ant, where are you? We need to put out an Amber Alert for Ant. Somebody get your boy over there. Tell him to come on over here. Tell Ant, it is okay. It is okay. Or is it? Or is it? Guys, we're going to be talking about the Baltimore Ravens today. They're fresh off their 0-2 start. Is it time to panic? Is it time to panic in Baltimore? We're going to talk about that. Of course, you got Factor Crap here on this beautiful Monday edition of Man NFL Talk. Did the Bengals give away the game? Is the Dallas Cowboys in trouble? There's no D in Dallas right now. It's just all Alice, right? And of course, we got to talk about the Minnesota Vikings. We got to talk to Minnesota Vikings, and Laura Johnson-Hedrick's already in the chat, says the new narrative is Skull Nation, baby. Skull Nation is, they're on cloud nine. We're going to be talking about them later today, a show here in the Fact or Crap section of today's show. Before we get too carried away, we got to welcome some people into the chat here. We got my man Casey Morgan is in the chat. He said, let go. Casey is a pigskin pundit and a fellow Kansas City Chiefs fan, if I'm not mistaken. And Casey, thank you for becoming a pigskin pundit, man. We much love. If you guys are a pigskin pundit and you want a game that streamed over there on our Discord, I believe yesterday we streamed 6 games. We streamed the Raiders versus Baltimore Ravens. We had the Bucks versus Lions over there. And then we had the Cowboys versus Saints. And then we had all 3 of the afternoon games. We had the Chiefs versus the Bengals, Rams versus Cardinals, and then we had the Steelers versus the Broncos. So if you guys ever want a game over there, head over to the Discord, and it's probably going to be over there. We are streaming 6 games a Sunday over there, 3 in the afternoon, 3 in the evening, and bada bing, bada boom. There you go. All you got to become is become Pigskin Pundit and head over to the Discord. Discord. We got my man James Frank in the chat as well. He says Ravens are about to go 0-3. 0-3. And James, I'm going to say slow it down, baby. Because later in the Factor Crap here, we're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys, but the Dallas Cowboys cannot stop the run. Let's just be honest. The Dallas Cowboys cannot stop the run. Hell, I think James Cook is still running on them from last season. Aaron Jones from the Packers from last playoff game is still running on him. Hell, I think Alvin Kamara just scored another tutty. The Dallas Cowboys cannot start the running game to save their life. And what the Ravens do well, except for when they got a lead in the fourth quarter. Oh, shots fired. They run the ball well. The Ravens run the ball well, so we'll be talking about that. Of course, we got a lot of breakdown happening this week, but we'll definitely be breaking down the Dallas Cowboys and the Baltimore Ravens because this is a big game for both sides, right? Big game for both sides, and it is a stat here. It is a fact that teams that start 0-2 have a 6% chance of making the playoffs since 2019. So wrap your heads around that. Baltimore Ravens are 0-2. Colts are 0-2. The Bengals are 0-2. The Broncos are 0-2. There's a lot of 0-2 teams out there, so we're going to be overreacting on Tuesday about a lot of those teams. Of course, Laura's in the chat. She says, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you as well, Laura. John is in the chat, says, what up? Speaking of Pigskin Pundit, my man John is in here, and John is still putting out the Amber Alert for Ant. Ant, all you hear is crickets. We're still in here crickets from Ant as well. James says the Bengals didn't, but Chase may have. Cost him the game. We'll be talking about that in Factor Crap here in about 20 minutes. We'll be talking about the Bengals versus Kansas City Chiefs. We can talk about it all day long if you guys want to. All day long. Got my and John Swetzer in the chat as well. He says it's fun watching Lamar rack up those 2024 MVP stats. Repeat back-to-back MVP. Let me give you a wow there. John says, are you putting the Raiders at 8-9 now? Jim, let's talk about your Raiders. Okay, let's talk about your Raiders. I got this in the segment here, so let's talk about the Raiders. The question that I got to ask, are the Raiders actually good? The Raiders did lose to the Chargers come week 1. They lost to a Chargers team that's, let's just be honest, the Chargers are not very good. Yes, they are 2-0. Yes, they are, quote, leading the AFC West. Yes, they have beaten teams like the Raiders and the Panthers. The Raiders did go into Baltimore and beat a good Baltimore Ravens team, but are the Baltimore Ravens actually that good? I don't know. But on the flip side, the Raiders do have some positive things happening for them, right? Gardner Minshew has thrown just over 500 yards in just 2 games, tied for second in the NFL. Devontae Adams is having flashes of vintage Devontae Adams, making a hell of a touchdown catch in that sideline catch versus the Ravens. Where was that the last couple seasons, right? And the defense pretty much locked down the Ravens when it was time to push to shove, right? When, what was it, minute 37 left in the game, pretty much all the Baltimore Ravens was to run out the clock and kick a field goal and win the game. And Max Crosby's like, bad baby, it's my game. The Raiders are not terrible. I put emphasis on that earlier this season when I had them going, 12-5, right? Or sorry, 5-12. I said they weren't a bad team. They just got a really tough schedule. And there were a couple people out there that I did see that they did have the Raiders beating the Ravens with receipts to back it up. But let's just be honest. Very, very few people had the Raiders beating the Ravens. And honestly, I had them starting the season off 0-2. Some people said I had them losing like 9 straight to start the season. I didn't say that. I said 9 straight in the middle of the season, which is still a really good possibility. But when the when the Raiders do beat the Panthers next week at home, there are going to be some more chatter that's happening, right? 2-1. Andy Dalton, that's right. Bryce Young just got benched within the last 30 minutes. Andy Dalton's now the starter in Carolina. When Andy Dalton and the Panthers come into town and Max Crosby and the boys whoop that ass, there's going to be a lot more chatter. Then when the Browns come into town and they battle them, could potentially beat the Browns, there's going to be a lot more chatter. And then they play the Broncos. Should be an easy dub. Right, so at that particular point, we could be looking at a 4-1, 5-1 type of situation going into games versus Steelers, Rams, Chiefs, and Bengals. Right now, Rams, not very good team. Bengals, not a very good team. The Miami Dolphins, Tua is out for the whole season, so Skylar Thompson is going to take over, and the Dolphins actually just assigned Tyler Huntley. So back in June and July, this schedule that the Raiders have, the Rams, Steelers, Browns, Ravens, Buccaneers, Jaguars, Saints, Chargers, all kind of looked like, oh shit, slow it down, baby. But now it's looking a lot more favorable. You beat the Ravens. You should beat the Panthers. You should beat the Broncos twice. So there's 3 more wins. The Rams are looking shitty. There's 4. The Bengals are looking shitty. There's 5. The Dolphins it's at Miami, so let's just try to give it to you. They're 6. And then the Jaguars just suck. So there's 7 wins. So Jim, you know what? I might give you guys 8 wins this season. After watching the last 2 weeks of Raiders, I've watched more Raiders football in the last 2 weeks than I've had in a very, very long time because I wanted to dog you. I wanted to pound you guys on the stupid shit, right? It's a very good possibility that the Raiders might get a 7-8 win season. Now, I'm still sticking to my 5. I think the Rams will come around. I think the Miami Dolphins will still figure it out somehow to beat you guys at Miami. Miami is just a tough place to play in general because of the heat and like all that crap, especially coming from a dome. And then you still got the Saints. You still got the Bucks. Still got the Chiefs twice. You still got the Bengals that are going to probably figure it out, right? Did you guys know that the Bengals have started 1-11 in the last 6 seasons? Right around that. They're used to starting bad. So 8-9 wins. I could see it. But I'm still sticking with like 5. Still sticking with 5. And Casey says the Raiders are 100% every team's trap game this season. Ooh. Really? I feel like after this Ravens win, people are on notice now. if they would have started off the season 0-2 like I thought they were, losses versus the Chargers, and then the Ravens, then I could see somebody's trap game. But now, I think people are on notice a little bit. They're Casey. I'm not for sure if they're going to be a trap game anymore. Previous from this week, sure. I would have definitely agreed with that 100%. I would agree with that. John says Crosby and crew will take down Dalton 100%. 100%. James Frank says it's a tough squad. Crosby is a beast. Listen, I watch Max, right, for being a Chiefs fan. I see him twice a year, and then I watch a lot of Raiders defense, right? I don't watch a lot of offense. Watch a lot of defense, and he is a player that gives 100%, 100% of the time. There are players that take plays off. Chris Jones takes plays off. Jadeveon Clowney takes plays off. Patrick Queen takes plays off. There are players that take plays off. TJ Watt does take plays off. Max Crosby is balls to the wall 100% of the time, all the time. That is why Max Crosby does so well in the fourth quarter. Because those other players are starting to wear down, and they've had to play 100% the whole time because Max hasn't taken any plays off. And he's used to boom, 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 and they're not. And then that's why, was it late in the fourth quarter, Max Crosby did a simple loop route, right? Tackle didn't touch him. Guard didn't touch him. Center's looking the other way. Wide open sack. I was prepared for them to throw a flag on him, honestly. Like, oh, you hit Lamar Jackson too hard. But Max, looked up at the last leg. He's like, oh, shit. But Max Crosby is a beast. 10 wins, says John, for the Raiders. 10 wins. Ryan's in the chat, says, let go. What's up, Ryan? What's up? Laura says Raiders are going to sneak attack at the end of the season. That's no one is expecting possibility. The back end of the Raiders schedule is favorable, right? It is favorable. Falcons, to be determined how good they are. We'll see tonight when they play the Eagles. We'll see how good they actually are. Jaguars, very beatable team. Saints might be on cruise control come week 17, and the Chargers week 18. It would not shock me if they win 4 of the last 5 games and are in the playoff conversation again. It wouldn't surprise me. Realic 187 says Minshew looked really good too. Minshew has looked really good. He is leading he's tied for second in the league in passing with just over 500 yards. Devontae Adams is looking like a stellar Devontae Adams, right? They're actually looking like a pretty decent team. Let's just find it. And Casey says, I find it funny Lamar gets a running back is now trying to throw more. To who and where think his wide receivers are still trying to figure that out. So there is a tweet out there by Zay Flowers bashing everybody. So my man Arthur Brown's in the chat says, what up, man? Our nation. What's up, Arthur Brown? Hope you're having a grand old day, man. Be safe out there. And I know you are a Miami Dolphins fan and a Hurricane fan. And I'm sorry for your season. I just want to apologize up front, Arthur. I know it's going to be a long season for you on both sides of the ball. Hopefully, you become a Chiefs fan. Casey says, TB is going to sneak their way into this year. Baker looking like this his year. Tampa Bay is going to... Listen, when I told you guys this, last month, I said the Saints and the Bucks are going to be a 12-13 win team. And when I posted that clip, damn near everybody on that clip was like, oh, you're stupid, you're crazy, right? Well, here's some more stats for you here, right? Baker Mayfield right now is a 6th-ranked quarterback in the NFL as far as QBR. 6th-ranked quarterback, okay? The last time the Saints scored 91 points in 2 games, which they scored 91 points in the first 2 games of the season, they won the Super Bowl. Guys, people need to stop sleeping on the Bucs and the Saints right now. Stop it. Stop sleeping on them. They're going to win a lot of games this season. They have a very favorable schedule, and they're going to win a lot of football games. Just deal with it. John says, are there any news on Tua? The last I heard, Tua is out for the rest of the season. They're pulling the plug on him. That is why they signed Tyler Huntley off of the Ravens practice squad to basically take Tua's spot. So he is for sure on IR. I don't know if it's 4-week IR or season-ending IR, but as of right now, he's out for the season. Saints are blessed with the DC. They are. They are. But guys, let's talk about those Ravens. We talked about a lot about the Raiders. Let's talk about the Ravens. The Ravens basically gave the game to the Raiders last night. Let's just be honest. Not once, but twice in the fourth quarter alone, they had a 10-point lead on the Las Vegas Raiders. 3 times last season, they gave up 10-point leads in the first quarter to lose games. Actually, all the games that the Ravens lost last season, they blew at least a 7-point lead or greater in the fourth quarter. Then they go out and they sign Derrick Henry. They signed Derrick Henry because they, quote, they need a closer, right? They need their John Rocker. They need somebody to come in there and lock it down. Well, guess what? Ravens played the Kansas City Chiefs week number 1. They had an opportunity to close out the game to potentially win the game. Just give Derrick Henry the rock. Let him tote it. Fourth quarter, he touched it twice. 2 carries for Derrick Henry in the fourth quarter versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Fast forward to week number 2. Las Vegas Raiders. All you had to do is basically milk out the clock. You were up 10 points in the fourth quarter, like 5 minutes left to go. You were up 10. 10 points. Derrick Henry touched the ball 1 time in the fourth quarter. 1 time. So when we look at the Ravens right now, they are 0-2. As I said earlier, teams that start 0-2 since 2019 have a 6% chance of making the playoffs. And let's just be honest, the Ravens had a pretty tough schedule as is this season. Dropping a game like 2, the Raiders is tough on the morale. So we got to ask the question, who is to blame for the Ravens' downfall so far this season? Is it Lamar Jackson? Is it Derrick Henry? Is it the loss of Patrick Queen? Is it Zay Flowers? Who is to blame? And I know you guys are thinking right now, Buck is going to blame Lamar Jackson. Buck is going to blame Lamar Jackson because that is the easy way to go. It is the easy way to go. 2-time league MVP, basically he wins and dies by the sword. Basically, you can say, but Lamar Jackson isn't the issue. Now, he's had some errant throws. He had some questionable miscues, if you want to say. He's had some this and that, but he is not to blame. The defense, they're ranked number 3 right now in the NFL. Right now in the NFL, the Ravens are defense is ranked number 3. Gardner Minshew just put the ball in some places that I didn't know he could put it. Hamilton was there on the touchdown pass. I don't know who was guarding Devontae Adams on the sideline, but it was great coverage. He was face to face. Devontae Adams is just that guy. You can't blame the defense. You can't blame Derrick Henry. He's only touched the ball 3 times in the fourth quarter in two games. Stupid. So who is to blame? John nailed it right here. John Harbaugh is to blame. John Harbaugh is to blame for the Baltimore Ravens' malfunctions these 2 games. Lamar Jackson has never lost 3 games in a row. Well, guess what? He has now. AFC Championship game, week 1, week 2. And it's not because of the lack of play of Lamar Jackson. It's not because of the lack of play of the defense. It's not because of the lack of play of the offense or special teams or this. It's the lack of football IQ from John Harbaugh. It is the lack of big game awareness from John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh was 0-2 on challenges last night that cost the Ravens 2 timeouts. And these were challenges that were questionable at best. Everybody and their dog knew that Devontae Adams caught that touchdown pass. Why would you challenge it? Everybody and their dog knew that Zay Flowers did not catch that ball. Why did you challenge it? Those are 2 timeouts that you could have had when you had 27 seconds left in the game to potentially win the game. Football awareness lacks in John Harbaugh. Football IQ seems to lack in John Harbaugh as well. Let me step back a little bit. He's a very smart coach. He's a good X's and O's coach. When he's leading, he has great football knowledge. But it seems like when it's crunch time and the butthole starts to pucker a little bit, his football IQ goes out the window. Guys, John Harbaugh is to blame for the Ravens' 0-2 start. It is not Lamar. It is not the defense. It's not the offensive coordinator. It's not Derrick Henry. It's not Zay Flowers. It's Jim Harbaugh. And I guess we're calling him Hardblow now. Jim Hardblow. Jim Harbaugh is to blame. So if we're blaming John Harbaugh for this 0-2 start, how do we fix it? Do we fire him? If you go 1-5, 0-4, 100%. Out with the old, in with the new. Mix it up a little bit. Super Bowl window is rapidly closing. Lamar Jackson's going to want those more Bills yell pretty soon here. Get him out of town. Or hire a, what's it called? A special assistant, right? A person that is up in the booth, in his ear, situational awareness. A person like Bill Belichick that has been there, done that. Just talk him off the ledge. Hey, don't challenge that. That's a terrible challenge. Hey, we have 2 timeouts. Don't use it here. Use your timeouts on defense, not on offense. Just something. But let's say they do fire Jim Harbaugh. Let's say it is time to move on from Jim Harbaugh. Potential coaches that are out there. Obviously, if he gets fired mid-season, the offensive coordinator is probably going to be promoted. That's just usually the way it is. But if the Ravens decide to move on from John Harbaugh and hire a coach, I think they got to hire an offensive-minded coach. Their defense is stout. Defense is locked down. Defense is great. Let's get a guy that's going to put some damn points on the board. Let's put a guy in there that has experience with a high-flying offense. Let's get a guy in there like Ben Johnson, the Detroit Lions offensive coordinator. Let's get a guy in here like Frank Smith, Miami Dolphins offensive coordinator. Let's get a guy in here like Joe Brady. Literally turned around the Buffalo Bills season last season. Bills turned around last season, Joe Brady. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. So what do you guys think? Who is to blame? When you look at the Ravens' 0-2 start, who is to blame? Lamar? Defense? Harbaugh? Who do you guys think? Jerome Butler's in the chat. What's up, Jerome? He says O.C. Mokum is responsible going back to the AFC Championship game. Well, Monken wasn't the offensive coordinator last season. Todd Monken was fired previous from the 2023 NFL season. Actually, I don't think Monken's on a NFL staff right now, to be honest. That's why the Ravens offense was so good last season, because Todd Monken was out. Actually, he might be in Charger land for all I know. I don't know. Casey says maybe Hardblow and Shays should go to football 1-on-1 together. Listen, I believe it was the AFC Championship game last season, Ravens versus Chiefs. Zay Flowers caught a big pass over the center of the field, almost basically locking up the win for the Baltimore Ravens, and he got a personal foul. I can't remember exactly how it happened, but Zay Flowers got a personal foul. Lack of football IQ, lack of knowledge, lack of discipline comes from the head coach. Zay Flowers basically cost them last season. Let's just be honest. Jerome Butler says absolutely refuses to run the ball when it's absolutely necessary, which is stupid. You brought Derrick Henry in for a freaking reason. Yes, I did say Derrick Henry's probably going to get 13, 14 touches a game. I did say that. But 3 touches in the fourth quarter in 2 games? What? Derrick Henry is a workhorse. Let him work in the fourth quarter. That's why you brought him in. That's why you brought him in. Oh, we need to save him for the postseason. Got to get there first. Right now, you got a 6% chance of making it. 6% chance. Laura says you got to get back to the basics is how to fix it. Put in a time frame over said person's head and say fix it or you're out. And you know what, Laura? That's what the Baltimore Ravens have done. The Baltimore Ravens historically are a very patient franchise. Much like the Cincinnati Bengals, they're happy with just being good. Not being great, we just want to be good. Defensive coordinator is out. Obviously, Tom McDonald is now the Seahawks head coach. I believe he's 2-0-2. But the issue in Baltimore, we don't have enough receivers. Bring in receivers. We don't have enough running game. Bring in a running game. The offensive coordinator is the issue. Get a new offensive coordinator. At some point, the only thing you got to fix right now is the head coach. Got a new general manager. Got a new offensive coordinator. Got a new defensive coordinator. You got a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Zay Flowers could be a top 10 receiver in the NFL if he pulls his head out of his ass. You have a Hall of Fame running back in Derrick Henry. John Harbaugh is the only person it hasn't been changed yet. Casey says maybe the Chiefs should trade Wentz for Lamar. Ravens get a QB and the Chiefs get a running back. Ooh, slow it down, baby. Casey says the blame is on the coaching staff making the bad play calling. Yes, run the ball. There it is. Casey said Zay Flowers spiked the ball on Snead. I knew it was something. It was some taunting call, but I couldn't recall the exact details. But I knew he spiked the ball. Thank you for Casey. Great thing. Didn't he point at the cornerback and caught the ball? Yeah, he did. He did. So guys, Ravens, panic or no? We'll talk about that tomorrow. We will talk about that tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow, Monday Night Football is tonight. We got the Falcons taking on the beautiful Philadelphia Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly, or Dirty Birds. Who do you guys got tonight? Let me know. I am personally taking the Eagles. I believe the Eagles are at home. I'm taking the Eagles. I usually always take the home game or the home team on Monday Night Football games. And I just don't trust Kirk Cousins in primetime games. Let's just be honest. If you can trust Kirk Cousins in primetime games, you are trusting that wet fart. I'm just putting it out there. But every Monday, guys, we do a beautiful thing called Fact or Crap. So we basically been scouring the old interwebs. I've been trolling the old interwebs, been putting stuff out there on a Facebook page at facebook.com/manhour NFL talk. And we're going to finally determine if it's fact or if it's crap. Play along in the chat. It's fact, you agree with it, or if it's crap, like, nah, Buck, you are talking crazy. You're talking crazy. Speaking of crazy, the Kansas City Chiefs come back and beat the Cincinnati Bengals with a 51-yard field goal by Harrison Buckner Sunday afternoon, the 4 o'clock time frame. It was 4th and 20 some odd yards. A pass interference call was made on Rashid Rice, giving the Kansas City Chiefs a first down and putting them into field goal range. If you say that was not a pass interference call, you do not know football. Let's just be honest. But guys, fact or crap, did the Cincinnati Bengals give away the game versus the Kansas City Chiefs? When we look back at the game, we are going to point to that one pass interference call. Let's just be honest. We are going to point to the pass interference call on the cornerback that's been talking shit all week long. Yes, it did cost him the game that he got the pass interference call, but I want you to take you back to a couple of their plays. It was early in the second quarter. Joe Burrow rolls to his right, has a wide open shot at the end zone. Nice 20-yard scamper, but he decides to try to rifle it on a pylon throw to Jamar Chase. That ball was ultimately incompleted, and the Cincinnati Bengals had to settle for a field goal. Couple plays, actually a few drives later, Joe Burrow missed a wide open Jamar Chase in the end zone, overthrew him, and they had to settle for 3 points there. So there are 14 points off of the board right off the bat when the Cincinnati Bengals had to settle for 2 field goals. Then we look at the Jamar Chase thing. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Jamar Chase caught a pass, I believe it was like a 5-yard out route or so, and the Kansas City Chiefs defender tackled him, and it looked like it was going to be a hip tackle, but he kind of just like sat him on the ground. Nice, clean tackle. Wasn't dirty. Wasn't a hip tackle. Wasn't a face mask. Jamar Chase lost his shit. The referee told him once, twice, and third time got you the flag. Jamar Chase got a 15-yard penalty there. Would have been, 3rd and 5 at that particular time, push him back to 3rd and 20. Next play, obviously incomplete pass. They had to punt the ball away. They were in field goal range at that particular time, if not touchdown range. Missed extra point or missed opportunity there. So factor crap, did the Bengals give away the game? It is a fact. It is a fact. The Cincinnati Bengals outplayed the Kansas City Chiefs on every aspect of the game. Their offense was better. Their defense was better. Their special teams were somewhat better, even though Evan Money missed that. Was it a PAT? I can't remember if it was a PAT or a field goal, but he missed one. But the Cincinnati Bengals won every aspect of that game, and they still lost. The Cincinnati Bengals gave that game away. Not because of the pass interference call, not because of the non-holding calls, not because of the lack of field awareness, right? It's the lack that they potentially left 21 points on the field. They left 2 touchdowns on the field, had to settle for field goals. Jamar Chase, 15-yard penalty, took him out of field goal range, potentially took 3 more points, if not 7 points off the board. If you score one of those touchdowns, if Joe Burrow just runs the ball in for 20 yards, the Bengals win. If he hits a wide open Jamar Chase in the end zone, the Bengals win. If Jamar Chase doesn't get that 15-yard personal foul on the referee, the Bengals win. I am relieved. Thank you. Thank you for giving me that pass interference call, because we did not deserve to win that game. It is a fact. So factor crap, did the Cincinnati Bengals give away the game? It's a fact. James says it's a fact. Laura says it is a fact. And I agree. And Casey says, I'm sick of people crying about the refs, to something that was plain sight and dumb choice by the defensive back. And Casey, I'm going to do you one better here. I have screenshots of the guy laying on Rashid Rice's back. Laying on his back. Chest, helmet, putting it down, laying on his back. And the guy says, look, he never touched him. His hands are out. He never touched him. He has a right to the ball. You're right. I guess if laying down is not touching, I didn't touch my wife ever. Chase's attitude is bad as T.O.'s ego. Ooh. I did notice that Jamar Chase is getting a little testy, right? Derek says, fact as well. They were up and they lost. They were up and they lost. Guys, we can cancel the Amber Alert. Amber Alert cancel. Ant has been found. Ant says, what I miss? We kind of missed us dogging your coach, and I think you're on the same boat as me. John Harbaugh's got to go. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. But guys, it is a fact. We all think that Cincinnati Bengals gave away that game. Speaking of giving away games, the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are they're kind of in trouble. They're kind of in trouble. They gave up 41 points. And I think, Alvin Kamara just scored another 60-yard touchdown untouched for the Dallas Cowboys defense. The Saints guys had a 70-yard drive, 3 69-yard drives, a 50-yard drive, a 72-yard drive, and an 83-yard drive on the Dallas Cowboys Sunday afternoon. So guys, factor crap, are the Dallas Cowboys in trouble for moving on? From week 2 on, are the Dallas Cowboys in trouble? Are they going to make the playoffs? The biggest issue with the Dallas Cowboys is they cannot stop the run. Let's call a spade a spade. They cannot stop motion run. They cannot stop play action pass. If a team just lines up and runs it down their throat, they can stop it. If a team just sits back and throws it, they can stop it. The minute you put in some motion, a little bit of jiggle, a little bit of wiggle in the hips, bada bing, bada boom, the Dallas Cowboys and Michael Parsons shit the bed. Let's just be honest. Guys, it is a fact the Dallas Cowboys do have a problem moving forward. If they cannot figure out how to stop the run this week, they might miss the playoffs. If the Dallas Cowboys do not figure out how to stop the run this week, they could easily start the season off 0-5. If the Dallas Cowboys do not figure out how to stop the run right now, all we're gonna hear is, oh, Dak Prescott's overpaid. It's Dak Prescott's problem. It's Dak Prescott. No, it's not. The Dallas Cowboys defense sucks. They cannot stop the freaking run. Simple as that. They cannot stop the run. And when you look at their schedule moving forward, they played the Baltimore Ravens week 3. And what do the Ravens like to do? I'll wait. Anybody, what do the Ravens like to do? Oh, they like to run the ball. Can the Dallas Cowboys stop the run? Nah, right now. Week number 4, they play the Giants. Who knows what the Giants like to do? They like to lose football games. Let's not worry about them. Next week at Pittsburgh Steelers, Sunday Night Football. What do the Pittsburgh Steelers like to do? I don't know, the two-headed running back monsters and Warren and Najee Harris. Run the freaking ball. Detroit Lions, well-balanced, oiled machine, but guess what? They run the ball really, really, really good. San Francisco 49ers, CMC's going to be back. Guess what they're going to do? Run the ball. Oh, next week. Oh, we'll figure out next week. Oh, the Atlanta Falcons. Bijan Robertson, a top 3, top 4 running back in the NFL. What are they going to do? Run the damn ball. Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know. They signed a guy by the name of Saquon Barkley that's getting his bread, getting those yardage. They're going to run the ball. Guys, if the Dallas Cowboys cannot stop the run right now, they're going to lose to the Ravens. They're going to lose to the Steelers. They're going to lose to the Lions, 49ers, Falcons, Eagles, and the Texans. Depending on Joe Mixon's MRI, how bad his ankle is, the Texans might be a little easier to win. Texans like to run the ball. They play 3 teams that don't like to run the ball. The Commanders, to be determined. Buccaneers, pass-happy offense. Panthers just suck. Bengals, pass the ball. Guys, we could be looking at a 6-win Dallas Cowboys team if they can't figure out how to stop the damn run. This is a fact. But I got to ask the question, guys. Are the Dallas Cowboys in trouble if they cannot stop the run? Fact or crap? Fact or crap? It's simple. It is a fact. It's a fact. Stop the run. You might win a couple games, Dallas Cowboys. How is it every fucking year I have the Dallas Cowboys winning football games, 12, 13, 14 wins, Super Bowl caliber team, and they can't even stop the fucking run? Laura says fact. James says fact. Casey says, going back to the Ravens, funny how he's putting MVP stats and they're 0-2, yet we have a QB doing 2 to 3 interceptions a game and it's 2-0. What quarterback is putting up 2 to 3 interceptions? Oh, is it Mahomes? Mahomes did have 2 interceptions. Speaking of 2-0, the Minnesota Vikings, guys, are now 2-0 to start the season. The Minnesota Vikings are a damn good team as of right now. They played San Francisco 49ers, quote, weak-handed, but they whooped that ass. Let's just be honest with 23-17 was the final score. Also, the LA Rams start off season 0-2. So, guys, is it a fact or is it a crap that the Minnesota Vikings are the biggest shock in this young NFL season? When we look at the Minnesota Vikings, they do have wins over the Giants, which is a bad team, let's just be honest, and wins over the San Francisco 49ers, quote, with shorthanded minus Christian McCaffrey. But Sam Darnold just has just under 500 yards passing, which is tied for 9th in the NFL. Aaron Jones has 126 yards so far this season, tied for 18th. And Justin Jefferson's had 200 yards, that's tied for 5th in the NFL. Nobody in their right mind predicted that the Minnesota Vikings would be 2-0 to start this NFL season. Let's just be honest. Some people had them beating the Giants at New York, yes. But the San Francisco 49ers, slow it down, baby. If you did, I need some receipts. But to say that they're the biggest shock in this young NFL season, I'm going to say crap. I'm going to have to say crap because there are other teams out there that are more shocking to me that are 0-2. The Cincinnati Bengals being 0-2, losing to the New England Patriots week 1 at your home field when Joe Burrow's coming back. Your offense looks suspect at best week 1. Looked a hell of a lot better week 2. Should have won week 2, but you're 0-2. Ravens 0-2. The Rams 0-2, not even getting beat, but beat down by the Arizona Cardinals. Slow it down, baby. There are a lot of shocks happening this NFL season. Minnesota Vikings is definitely one of them. But the biggest shock to me personally right now is the Baltimore Ravens and the LA Rams being 0-2. That is the biggest, right? Yes, I did have the Ravens losing week 1, but nobody had them beating or losing to the Las Vegas Raiders. Nobody did. LA Rams. I did have them beating the Detroit Lions week 1. Obviously, that did not happen. They lost mustard in overtime. But then getting beat down, not even beat, but humiliated by the Arizona Cardinals in the first quarter. What, Kyler Murray threw for 3 tutties in the first quarter? Slow it down, baby. Slow it down. But guys, fact or crap, Vikings are the biggest shock of this young NFL season. Laura, of course, is going to say fact. She loves her Minnesota Vikings. Fact, 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 she says. Give me some, but James says, slow it down, baby. Vikings are not the surprise. Sam Darnold is a surprise. And you know what, James? You might be onto something there because Vikings went through, 5 4 quarterbacks last season, and even till week 16, week 17, they were in the playoff hunt. All they had to do was win was it week 17 or week 16 game. They would have probably been in the playoffs, but Mr. Astronaut Boy couldn't get it, and Nick Mullins was just terrible, right? Sam Darnold is on his 4th team in his young NFL career. Drafted by the Jets, went to the Panthers, spent was it 1 year with the 49ers, maybe 2 years, and now he's with the Minnesota Vikings. I personally anticipated Sam Darnold basically being benched by week 12. Let old J.J. McCarthy kind of get his feet wet a little bit. I think the Viking season was pretty much just a wash, maybe just a mediocre 5, 6, 7 win team tops. Let J.J. come in, cook a little bit. But James, I think you nailed it. I think the Vikings as a team is a pretty good team. Defense is pretty solid. Granted, I wish they had Danielle Hunter still. I'm sure Laura wishes that as well. Wish they had Danielle Hunter still. That defense would even be more stout. Their offense is pretty good. They added Aaron Jones. We don't know the status of Addison when he's going to be able to play. Still got the best receiver in the league in JJ. Hawkinson should be back week 5. I think he's cleared to come back and play. So the Vikings really aren't even at full strength yet. Think about this. The Vikings beat the San Francisco 49ers, a really good San Francisco 49ers team. I know that Jameson's out there hating on his 49ers, but I know he's just mad. The 49ers are still pretty good. But the Vikings are probably only at 75%. You bring back Hawkinson, you bring back Addison, you give Aaron Jones a couple more weeks in this system. Look out, baby. Look out. So let's ask this question. Since, Laura, you think the Vikings are the biggest shock to this young NFL season, they are currently sitting in first place in the NFC North. The Vikings are sitting atop of the NFC North at 2-0 over the Chicago Bears, over the Detroit Lions, over the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers are going to be missing Jordan Love for possibly 4 more weeks to be determined. Yes, they beat the Colts on Sunday, but that formula that they have only works for a couple weeks. The Chicago Bears are just treading water. I believe Caleb Williams got sacked 7 times on Sunday night. If he keeps that up, he's not going to last very, very long. And the Detroit Lions are overrated. Guys, are the Minnesota Vikings the front runners in the NFC North right now? Because like I just said, they are only at 75%. They are missing their number 1 tight end. They are missing their number 2 wide receiver. Guys, the Vikings might be ready to win now. They might be ready to win now, and I wouldn't say they're in the driver's seat by any stretch of the imagination, but I still think they're competitive. They are going to compete for the title in the NFC North this season. They are going to compete for that divisional crown. They are going to compete for a playoff spot. And then let's take it one step further. Let's say Sam Darnold continues this trek of playing good football. Let's say Sam Darnold does lead the Vikings to a 9-win season, 10-win season. Let's say he does lead them to the playoffs. Do you stick with Sam Darnold moving forward, or is it still J.J. McCarthy's team to lose? That's the real question. That's the real question. Let's get back into the chat here. Casey says, crap. I think everyone was viewing the Vikings to do something, just didn't know what. Something as in like win 9-win, 10-win team, or like I don't know. Derek says I left the comments on your Vikings 49ers post. Okay, Derek, I'll be sure to check that out. Casey says, I personally think Goff hit his ceiling and the teams have figured him out. So this is what I think is wrong with the Detroit Lions and the San Francisco 49ers. There is such thing as too much success, right? There's such things as being successful when you're not ready to be successful, right? I had a high school, I've been coaching high school football now for what? This is my 9th year, 10th year. And my kids that are freshmen now are my seniors now. And they had too much success their freshman and sophomore years, right? We were really, really good. We lost 3 games in 2 years. We were really, really good. Now, them as seniors, they don't understand what hard work is. They don't understand what it took to be a 2-loss team, a 3-loss team in 3 years. They don't understand the hard work. They don't understand the hard work it takes to repeat. And I think that's what's happening with the Detroit Lions right now with Amon-Ra, right? We saw him running his mouth was versus the Giants, right, in the preseason. And everybody on the Giants fan was getting ready to beat his ass, and nobody from the Detroit Lions was over there to help him out. He kept running his mouth. And I'm not for sure if they know what it takes to be successful again, right? The San Francisco 49ers, they've been successful for so long that they're just tired, right? They have basically played a full extra NFL season than all the other teams because of all the playoff games that they've played the last 4 or 5 seasons, right? I think Goff is still a top 10 quarterback. I just think that Dan Campbell is the issue. I think Dan Campbell is the issue. The risk it, no biscuit is mentality is coming back to definitely hurt them. Laura says, I picked the Vikings to win against the Niners. I chose the Vikings no matter what. Marvin Harrison Jr. was on fire. 4 catches. He was. Ann says, and shout out to the Chargers too. They're 2-0, and J.K. Dobbins has rushed for 100 yards in both those games and scored a tutty. And J.K. Dobbins scared the living hell out of me. He was running down the left sideline into the pylon and did a front flip into the end zone. Landed square on his ass and looked like he knocked the wind out of him, right? He was definitely huffing and puffing. In the back of my head, I'm like, JK, slow it down, baby. You just got off the IR list, and you're gonna go back on there for doing a backflip. Come on now. Casey says, you know who else is shocked that the refs chased? You know who else is shocked that ref Chase used abusive words with? Jamar Chase did cuss out the referee. James says, Caleb promised no punts. He's just throwing interceptions now. Wowzers. Casey says, don't forget the overthrowing and underthrowing XD Golden Boy. Looking like a turd with sprinkles. James also thinks it's still the Lions division to lose. Lions are still a pretty good team. They have a tough schedule. They have a bullseye on their back. You know, the reigning NFC championship game runner-ups, I guess. But they still got a little flair in them. But guys, that is going to be it for today. Glad to be back from vacation. Glad to be back with you guys here on Man Hour. We are live every Monday through Friday, 2:30 East Coast time, right here at Facebook.com/Man Hour. Of course, YouTube.com/Man Hour as well. If you like to listen to us on the old podcast form, we're out there on Spotify. Simply search Man Hour NFL Talk, all separate words. Check it out. Check it out. But until then, Monday Night Football tonight, Ravens versus Eagles. If you do not get the game on ESPN, head over to our Discord. I will be streaming it for you all over there. But until next time, I'm out.